reporting on point to pointing?
I first started reporting on point to pointing back in 1966, but the first time I ever visited a point to point was in 1952, and that was near my hometown in Cardiff at a place called Robina Farm. And incidentally, Jimmy Thomas, who's a well-known steward, in fact he's as old as me now, and he can't steward because of his age, but I can carry on reporting. But Jimmy, he actually broke his nose in the very first point to point he took part in. I mean, they were in the days when there were only 5 races per card, not like today. And one could remember all the horses from those days, even now. Sylvester II, Catello, Spurn Head.
Over the years, Brian, you must have seen lots of incidents at the point to pointing, especially in Wales. What would be the most funniest one you've seen?
The most funniest one, well, I should imagine it was the time that I wanted to interview a lady jockey, and I went outside the ladies' tent to interview her, and she came out just wearing a bra and panties, and I didn't really know where to look.
But you soon found somewhere, no doubt.
I did find somewhere, but I forgot the questions I wanted to ask her.
Brian, you've seen lots of good horses over the years. Can you mention a couple of the best horses you've seen?
Well, one of the best horses I'd seen over the years was a horse chestnut called Fitz, and it was owned and trained by Rose Harry, who sadly only died about a fortnight ago. Fitz had a lot of good horses. The Grey Sugarbush, ridden by the late Michael Williams at times. Tim Rooney also rode it. Havelot. Another horse she had was Ernie the Milk. But I should imagine the most famous point-to-pointer of all time was a horse called Mandrake. And Mandrake was owned by Tommy Morgan and ridden by his daughter Shan, whose daughter was actually riding here today. Mandrake, I believe, won about 48 races off the top of my head, 38 lady races, all with Shan in the saddle, and I think it was about 5 men's open races and a Hunter Chaser Chepstow. Chestnut Annie today, I should imagine, would be the most popular point-to-pointer, but we've had Lady Mavantwe, another good horse, excuse me, Finley's Find, by the same ownership.
Brian, a lot of the courses in Wales have closed down for one reason or another. Can you think of what was perhaps your favourite course of all time in South Wales, especially?
Well, a racecourse dear to my heart, I suppose, is the one near Chepstow Racecourse at Howick, because it's got that. Well, when you drive through, you actually drive through a farmyard and that, and it sort of brings out that atmosphere, you know, of farming atmosphere and that. And I've seen some good horses race there over the years, Mandrake being one of them, and Chestnut Annie another, Fitz as well, Henley Fair, quite a few. Others that I can't just think of at the moment, but it's still a favourite course of mine. And of course this Bonvilston race course, that's a very nice course, and I hope that we continue to race here, because there's been some doubt about that. But let's hope that something will be pulled out of the hat and we will come here again, because it's been the home of the Welsh Grand National ever since the race was first started. And it would be a great shame. I mean, as you see yourself today, there's a tremendous crowd, and it's Annerley Place for West Wales as well as the South Wales, not too far from Cardiff, just up the road. And it would be a tragedy in my mind if this racecourse, we never had any racing there again.
Brian, you've been reporting on point-to-pointing for many years. Your reports have appeared in all the South Wales newspapers, is that right?
Well, funnily enough, I've had a few point-to-point stories never or very rarely made the front page of the Sporting Life. And the top of my head, I can think of 3 or 4 stories of mine that have made the front page of the Life, even if they didn't carry my byline. But I've reported for the Daily Telegraph, the Sunday Express, the national daily paper of Wales, the Western Mail, Glamorgan Gem, South Wales Argus, many other papers, local papers, you know.
Brian, you've written a number of books, I believe. Can you tell us what the titles of those books might be?
Well, I suppose racing-wise, the most important book that I've written was the history of the Welsh Grand National, which started off at Cardiff, and then it continued for 1 year at Cali and Newport Racecourse, and then in 1949, when it was won by Dick Francis, who had actually been involved with that fiasco in the Grand National itself when ESB beat the Queen's mother's horse. So that was a complete history of the race up until, I'm trying to think of the title of the book now, the Welsh Grand National, from Dear Stalker to Supreme Glory, was it? I can't remember. But I've got another book now which the publisher have had for 3 years, and I'm still waiting for him to bring it out, and it's called Welsh Horse Racing Gambles and Scandals. But apart from that, I've written a book on Welsh steeplechase jockeys and also about 24 books on my hometown, Cardiff.
4 books on Cardiff, Brian. There can't be many stones left unturned.
Well, it's not so much of the history of Cardiff, but it's more of a photographic history, and each book contained about 200 photographs of all sorts of aspects of Cardiff. So as long as the photographs keep coming in, I can keep doing these books. The very first book that I wrote on Cardiff was half and half, sort of text and pictures, and that's been, funnily enough, that's been the most successful, and it's been reprinted about 5 or 6 times.
This Racing Gambles and Scandals book is something that we're all looking forward to seeing. How many words is that? Is that a heavy-duty book?
No, it'll be just over 100 and odd pages, plenty of pictures, half-tones, illustrations, you know. That's if it ever gets off the ground. I've been assured by the publisher that it will be published this year, but just have to wait to see.
And can you give us a little idea of what sort of the content might be? I'm sure the readers are going to be lining up to get this book now.
Well, it'll involve stories on point-to-point racing, fiddles at point-to-point, even flapping racing, flat racing, horse racing under rules, all that sort of thing where the little fiddles and scandals have gone on. I'll probably lose a few friends if it ever does come out, but there we are. We can't have everything.
Brian Lee, author and journalist, South Wales specialist, thanks very much for talking to me today. It's been a pleasure.